Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us for the weekly media briefing. I don't really have any announcements to begin with, so may I start with the questions? Please. Yeah, Madhur, go ahead.
सर मधुरेंद्र, मैं न्यूज़ नेशन से। अभी जो मणिपुर में जारी हिंसा है उसमें माना जा रहा है कि म्यांमार साइड से चाइनीज़ हथियारों की खेप जो है वो सप्लाई हो रही है और वो हिंसा को बढ़ावा दे रही है। तो क्या भारत और म्यांमार के बीच इस बारे में कोई बातचीत हुई है?
आपका जो प्रश्न था उसके
मणिपुर में जारी हिंसा के पीछे म्यांमार
माना जाता है आपने कहा, कहाँ, किसने, किस तरह?
तमाम जगह रिपोर्ट्स हैं कि मणिपुर में जो हिंसा हो रही है वहाँ जो ऑलरेडी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, काम कर रहे हैं, और जो हथियारों की खेप है वो म्यांमार के रूट से आ रहा है। और वो तमाम हथियार ऐसे हैं जो चाइनीज मेड हैं। तो इस बाबत क्या भारत और म्यांमार के बीच कोई बातचीत हुई है?
ओके
सर, नीरज हूँ न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से। सीमा हैदर को लेकर पाकिस्तान ने कॉन्सुलर एक्सेस मांगा है। क्या विदेश मंत्रालय का रुख है और क्या कॉन्सुलर एक्सेस दिया जा सकता है इस मामले में?
ओके सिद्धांत।
Sir, the Sri Lankan president will be shortly reaching Delhi. What will be the key focus when it comes to India-Sri Lanka conversation? I mean, not preempting the conversation, but India has played an important role in terms of supporting Sri Lanka amid the economic crisis. So, what will be the focus around it?
Yeah, Aisha.
Sir, Ayush Agarwal from ANI. Sir, this is regarding a G20 summit. Do we have any confirmation from the Russian side regarding the participation of its president in a G20 summit? Since he has said that he is going to virtually participate in the BRICS. So, any update on that?
In that context.
Yeah.
Okay, I had one more hand up. Okay, Yeshi, go ahead.
So the German this is Yeshi Seli from the New Indian Express. The German Vice Chancellor is in India, and this issue of that.
Vice Chancellor.
Sorry.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay.
So. So the issue of that baby who's been in foster care in Germany is that likely to come up in discussions, because people are planning protests and they have been protesting in Germany and here.
Okay. Anything related to any of these questions? No. Something related to this set of questions? Please go ahead. Let me take any of the.
सर, ये डिपोर्टेशन की भी बात हो रही है।
आप इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे तो
मैं
रिकॉर्ड
संतोष ठाकुर हूँ सर, नवभारत न्यूज़पेपर से। सीमा हैदर को सर डिपोर्ट करने की बात चल रही है, तो उसको लेकर क्या सर, क्या वास्तव में बातचीत चल रही है और क्या प्रक्रिया अपनाई जा रही है, वो जानना चाहता हूँ।
Okay. Nobody else on these topics? Good. मधुरेंद्र, आपका प्रश्न था सीमा हैदर से आपने शुरू किया, तो नीरज से शुरू करता हूँ। नीरज, आपका प्रश्न था सीमा हैदर वाले मुद्दे पे। देखिए, इस मामले की जानकारी है हमारे पास और अदालत में इसकी पेशी हुई थी और उसके बाद उनको ज़मानत दे दी गई। वो बेल पे है बाहर और मामले की जांच चल रही है और आगे की जानकारी उपलब्ध होने पर हम आपको बताएंगे। अभी के लिए बस मेरे पास इतना ही है कहने के लिए कि जानकारी चल रही है। इसीलिए आपका भी वही है, आपका भी प्रश्न वही था जी। मैंने जैसा कहा, जानकारी चल रही है, इस पर जांच चल रही है और हमारे पास जब और कुछ कहने के लिए होगा मैं आपको ज़रूर बताऊंगा इसके बारे में। पर अभी ये जुडिशल मामला है और इन्वेस्टिगेशंस भी चल रही हैं, तो मैं कुछ और कहना नहीं चाहूँगा इसमें। मधुरेंद्र जी, आपका प्रश्न में काफ़ी कुछ आपने परिप्रेक्ष्य में काफ़ी कुछ कहा था, पर देखिए मैं आपका मुद्दा यही था कि म्यांमार के साथ कोई बातचीत हुई है या नहीं, यही आपका मोटा मोटा प्रश्न था। अभी आपने देखा होगा हाल ही में हमारे एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर डॉक्टर जयशंकर जी गए थे मीटिंग में, मल्टीलैटरल मीटिंग्स में, तो उनकी मीटिंग हुई थी यू थान शुए, उनका जो काउंटर पार्ट है म्यांमार के साथ। उन्होंने उसमें काफ़ी डिटेल में उन्होंने एक ट्वीट भी जारी की है। उसमें आपने देखा होगा कि उन्होंने बहुत सारी चीज़ों के बारे में कहा होगा, पर उन्होंने इसके बारे में जिक्र किया था कि पीस एंड स्टेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए हमारे बॉर्डर एरियाज़ में। इनफैक्ट मेरे पास है टेक्स्ट यहाँ पे, ये कह रहे हैं कि इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इंश्योरिंग, अंडरलाइन द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ इंश्योरिंग पीस एंड स्टेबिलिटी अलॉन्ग द बॉर्डर एरियाज विच हैव बीन सीरियसली डिस्टर्ब्ड रिसेंटली। तो जैसा कि विदेश मंत्री जी ने कहा है, उन्होंने इस बॉर्डर एरिया की शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखने के महत्व पर बात की थी और हाल में गंभीर रूप से जिस तरह से अशांत किया गया था इसको, उस पर चर्चा हुई थी। मैं इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा, ये बात हुई थी। पर आपने काफ़ी कुछ और कहा, उसके बारे में मुझे डिटेल नहीं है, वो मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स है, मैं उस पर कमेंट नहीं करना चाहूँगा। वो सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी उस पर कहें तो बेहतर है। Siddhant, moving on to your topic of the Sri Lanka visit. Look, this is a very important visit. It's a neighboring country with whom we have very important relationships. We have multi-faceted relations. As you said, I don't want to prejudge the conversations that will happen. He's arriving today. But certainly, we have discussed with Sri Lanka issues of how closer economic cooperation, how our growth of our economy, they can benefit from there, how we can discuss common security issues, how we can discuss common areas of development cooperation, new projects, how Indian investments can be involved. As you know, we've also been helping them or have helped them in with their economic problems that have happened in the earlier this year. And I think this will be a good base to take forward our conversation. This is the first visit of President Ranil Wickremesinghe as president. He's of course been here a number of times, and we look forward to the visit to impart a new momentum to the relationship. Siddhant, moving on. Ayushi, your question was on the G20 summit and the context of... Look, at this point, all I can reiterate is what we have said earlier. Invitations have gone out to all the G20 members, as well as the invitee countries, the international organizations, and the invitee international organizations. This is a physical summit, and we would hope that all the invitees are able to participate in person for this summit. There have been confirmations, I understand, but again, I don't have any specific response on any particular leader, yes or no, and I don't think that would be fair to look at it that way. But yes, we're looking forward to welcoming the leaders here for our G20 Leaders Summit, New Delhi Leaders Summit in September. Yashi, you have raised the issue of the child who is in, that was the case you were talking about. Look, as you know, this case has been something that we have been following up also on a regular basis. I don't know if this would be a part of the discussions during the visit of the Vice Chancellor, but because their agenda is slightly different. But since you raised the issue, let me make a larger point that how we have made very clear our desire to safeguard the child's cultural and national identity and ensure her return to India. We remain engaged with the German authorities in this regard. And of course, there are separate parallel judicial proceedings underway, and we are keeping close track of that. I understand that process involves the parents are involved, and since the sensitivity of the judicial proceedings, I would be hesitant to comment more about it. But certainly we are engaged with the German authorities on from how we see it from the interests of the child and the need for cultural immersion and return to India. I think that covers in any other questions. Sudhi.
Sir, Shudhiranjan from Bloomberg. On the Sri Lankan visit, if you could give us an understanding whether India and Sri Lanka are going to discuss and take forward the already existing measures on local currency trade. And if so, what can we expect from the meeting?
Okay. Shinja.
Sir, times now. Is Prime Minister going to South Africa for BRICS, or is he going to attend virtually?
Okay. Please go ahead now.
So, just add on to Shinja's question. Rishabh from Times Now.
Yeah, I know. But
has Prime Minister India accepted the state visit to South Africa following the BRICS summit? Like, will he be going there as a state guest as well post the BRICS summit? And so, Prime Minister just visited France, and there have been changes in the statement from France. First, it did mention about the submarines, and then within hours, the statement was changed, and submarine was removed from the statement. Where are we on the deals of submarine as well as Rafale M with France?
Anything else you want to tag to that from South Africa? I thought the one question. Anyway, yeah, please go ahead.
So, sort of just linked to the previous question, Sridhar from the Asian Age. So, on the Rafale deal, which was supposed to be the major announcement during the visit.
I'm not sorry. You
the
guys all
Ministry of Defense
starting an epilogue on. I'm not.
Running up
I
to
disagree with that. Was supposed to be the main outcome of that visit. So, just saying that. Please go ahead.
Okay. Now, this question was put to the.
What was the question? Repeat again. I don't know what your question was. You made a statement. What is your question?
India was supposed to announce the acquisition of 26 Rafale maritime versions.
How can I accept that?
But this question was put to the Foreign Secretary also at the late night briefing.
Thank God.
And I mean, he just said that the PM is focusing on co-development and co-production of projects. So are we to assume that is there any glitch regarding that, or is it just part of a protracted negotiation process? Thank you.
That's called a loaded question, and I will unload that in bits and pieces. Okay, I saw one more hand. Yeah, Ellen, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Elena, TASS News Agency. My question is on Black Sea Grain Deal initiative. So it was terminated on Monday, as we all know. And what consequences India see for herself? So I understand that you don't import grain, but you import fertilizers, sun oil, and yesterday, for example, some experts said that import of sun oil will be reduced 30% in August. So what consequences for you see, and will you have some special meetings or negotiations with Russian side on the outcomes of this event?
I got it. Okay, thank you. No further questions. Shruti, I just mentioned how we approach this visit. It's an important visit that's going to take place tomorrow, the main day of engagement. Yes, you're right. I won't say local currency trade, but in terms of trading in our national currencies, Sri Lanka has already, I think, notified Indian rupee as a designated foreign currency in their system. How we take forward that? Look, I think utilization of that will, of course, depend on our private sector and people who engage in the trade sector. We would like to, of course, deepen this kind of financial and economic connect, but I think it would be premature for me to comment today on it when the visit's tomorrow, so why don't you bear with us, and post-event we will try to see if you can share more information about the visit. Shinjoy, I have nothing particular to share at this moment. As you know very well, such high-level visits are always announced at the appropriate time, and as soon as we have something that we can share with you, we will do that. At this point, yes, of course, there's a BRICS summit, and we will let you know the modalities of India's participation, Prime Minister's acceptance of the same. Similarly, I think there was a question on the state visit related. I think Rishabh Euros asked that one. I think there was a proposal to add on. I don't know if it's a state official visit, but again, look, as I said, when we are ready to announce a visit, we will certainly do so. I will, let me last answer Eliana's question before I come to something different. Eliana, on the Black Sea Green Deal, again, I have been commenting on it. We have been talking about it. You might have also seen our statement at the United Nations. I think it was a couple of days ago. I think that captures it nicely. Let me just emphasize what we've been saying. We have been highlighting the need to address the food, fertilizer, and fuel challenges that's affecting developing countries due to the conflict in Ukraine. Our permanent representative at the UN in New York made a statement, which I just referred to. India had welcomed the signing and subsequent extensions of this UN-facilitated Black Sea grain agreement or deal, and the fertilizer package that went with it. We supported that. We have supported the efforts of the UN Secretary General in continuing this Black Sea grain initiative, and I know that on 20th it was discontinued by Russian side. And we hope for an early resolution to the present impasse. For the moment, that's all I have to say on that. And as I said, we hope that there will be an early solution to it. I don't have any information on whether we are having bilateral discussions with Russia. You asked specifically in that. But we would hope the efforts of the UN Secretary General bear fruit. Sridhar, and I think Rishabh, you had a part 2 of your question related to the visit to France. Look, Sridhar, let me start with yours. You made lots of comments. I'm not in a position to agree with almost all of it. If you want to know the status of any defense procurement or defense acquisition, I think the Ministry of Defense or other agency would be the best place. They have announced some things as and when then acceptance of necessity or other developments happen, they make it public. I wouldn't be able to comment on it. I think Foreign Secretary was asked a question related to this during the press conference in Paris, and I think he said it very clearly. The visit is not about an individual acquisition or a deal or an agreement, larger defense cooperation, the various elements of that. And I think the visit was very successful in that way to take forward our larger strategic cooperation, partnership with France, and defense and security cooperation is a very important element of that. As regards individual deals or not, or what has happened beyond what has been announced is work in progress, obviously, and I would recommend that you speak to the relevant agency. I don't think we are the right person to announce it. Going on to, I think, your query, Rishabh, was on something that was on a text of the thing. No, I think that speculation on that is unwarranted. Absolutely. In fact, I mentioned to some of you when in France also was asked, there is a joint document. I think it's titled Horizon 2047 and India-France partnership in the next 25 years on that. The text of that was uploaded by both sides near simultaneously when we had been closed. That is an agreed text, and there's no question of revising it. And this is mirrored on the French side. It's there on our website. And I think for a little while, certainly not later in the, I think, or a few minutes, an incorrect document was uploaded by error. And this error was rectified soon after. I certainly don't think, the kind of speculation and the stories that have been written, as I said, makes for great copy, low on facts, but that's how it is. If there are no further questions, we'll end with that. Thank you very much. You had some more question? I'm willing to answer. Okay, no, before that, Kalol, somebody hasn't asked.
Kalol from The Hindu.
Yeah.
The German Vice Chancellor has remarked that nobody wants to decouple from China, and that it's actually de-risking and rather diversification that is more well thought or rather welcome. Is there a comment on that from India's side?
Okay. You had some more question or anybody? Okay, go ahead. But quick, we'll wrap up.
Again, going back to this G20 summit, I heard that India is going in this month, which left till this summit, take some special meetings with G20 representatives on the language of future joint statement, which will be represented to the leaders of the meeting. So is it like this? And what is the main problem? What the problem is with this language? And what risks do you see? Does India see any risks of adopting this document?
Fair enough. Let me take the G20 one first. Look, there is a process under which the G20 progresses during a presidency. I think you had a chance to listen to that over the year. There are working group meetings, there are other events, and then they usually feed into a ministerial meeting and different verticals, whether it's environment, agriculture, or, different kinds of verticals are there. There is a Sherpa track, there's a finance track. But then they all come together at the summit. And to assist that process, there are the Sherpa meetings. And we just recently had a meeting of the Sherpas, third meeting of the Sherpas in Hampi, which just happened. And those are the occasions on which you can discuss and parties discuss elements that will go into the final outcome documents. And I think this Sherpa meeting was very constructive in that way to discuss way forward. Meanwhile, we've had ministerial meetings that have also discussed various outcomes on their own verticals and their own domains. And recently, for example, we just had the finance ministers meeting that has taken place in Gandhinagar. You would have seen the outcome document from that. So these are all put together and synthesized into a final document. There are, as you would have seen the finance minister document, there are certain differences between some countries. But the Sherpa track is a mechanism to try to see how we can bridge these gaps. There would be another Sherpa track meeting, I think, just prior to the summit, literally just a day or two before that. And then, of course, there are the discussions when the leaders are here. So I would not like to comment on what could be the contours of the final declaration, because that's up to the leaders to finally decide. As always, negotiating positions are there and people make their positions clear. I could comment on looking at the document so far. There have been differences on para relating to the conflict in Ukraine. I think one case there was some other comment also, but largely there have been a high degree of convergence among participants on all other issues, and that's a very positive thing. India has been pushing for new elements to be considered, particularly in the context of our presidency, be it environment issues, sustainable lifestyle, women-led empowerment, women development, as well as various issues that you've seen relating to global south and the concerns. So I think it speaks very positively that there has been broad understanding across various countries. But till the final document gets approved by everybody, I'm not going to comment on it. There are, of course, differences that we all know, and you heard our finance minister also speak about it. But we live with optimism, and we will work hard with our partners to see what can come out at the New Delhi summit. Meanwhile, I think our teams are working hard, and these opportunities like the Sherpa meeting are a good opportunity to discuss what are the contours of, or what could be the contours of any outcome document. Thank you very much. I think we'll close here. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.